Okay, good morning. So today I will discuss about the topic that how the user input we can take from in the Java. So till now we have seen all the thing about that how user input can be, but we didn't see about how the user input have been taken. Now in Java we can use for taking the user input we can two methods through two methods we can take the user input. One is the using passing command line argument and another is using the scanner class. So these two types and this through these two methods we can take the input from the user. Now first discussing about that. So let's first we will see how we'll take the using the command line argument in Java, how we can take the user input. So this is the class name it is given. So let's say this is the class name, class ABC, and inside the class, the public static void main, and as a parameter, we have passed string args. So now this is the argument which we are passing in the main. This is the argument. Now this argument is of the string type. This argument is the string type, and this is the name of the argument or the variable name args. Now in each and every book you have seen that it is written as string args, but you can also use instead of args you can able to use the name a b c, whatever name you may be use here, because it is the name of the variable. It is the name of the variable, so that's why you can able to use any of this name. So and this variable is of the string type. Now this is passed as a parameter in the main. In the main, it is passed as a parameter. And inside the main, you see we have written system.out.println argument plus args0. Args0. That means this is the string argument we are passing. Now args0 means the first index. The string which we are passing, its first index we want to print. In the first index, we will take some values and we will print that value, because this is the first index. 0 means the first index. So that means what we are able to passing, the what string type variable which we are passing, the argument which we string type argument which we are passing to the main. So according to the in the system.out.println, we want to print that the first index are in the first index what argument is stored, we will print that. This is the program specification. So I will show you the demonstration, so in that time it will be clear that what the it is going on. Now we already know for saving the program .java is used, and for compilation we will use the java c, then class name .java. This will be used for the compilation. And after compilation, when java c, then class name .java we will use for the compilation purpose. And now after the compilation, we know that java create the bytecode. So java will create the bytecode, and the bytecode will have the extension of dot class. So using the dot class extension, the bytecode will be created. And after execution, for execution we will use the java, then the name of the file. So that's how the execution will be done. Now let's say now after execution, let's say after execution, this is the after execution. Now after the execution of this, if we execute like this, then the exceptions will be generated. And the exception will be, the name of the exception will be array index out of bound exception. The name of the exceptions will be array index out of bound exception. Now why this exception will be generated? This exception will be generated because we use args0. That means in the program we use the args0. This is used, but that means in our program is expecting at least one argument to be passed, because args0 is the first index. Now when our program, that means our program requires at least one argument. at least one argument to be passed during the runtime. Now, if the argument is not passed, then the exception should be thrown. So let's say through using, let's say through a program, I will explain it. Through a program, if we explain it, then it will be easy for you to understand. So let's move to using the program, which we will see that, let's say I will create a one. Yes, so it came through a demonstrations of program. If we see, then it will be clear to you that why I am saying this. Now, let's say that I am writing a program. So let's say I am using the name as class, then name of the program, program1. Okay, so program1 is the name of the class which we are using. Now inside it, we are using public static void main. Okay, and string args. So as a parameter, public static void main, and as a parameter in the main, we are passing args variable. Name of the variable is args, and it is of the string type. So let's say inside main, we want to see that we will print system.out.println. Let's say we are saying hello, and we are using args, let's say 0. So that means here args 0 means args 0, it is written args 0 means we have to pass at least one statement, at least one argument which we have to pass during runtime, because 0 will specify what it is the first index. It is the first index because our args, the variable args is of the string type, so it is the string variable. So string variable means there will be index present. So at least it is we are passing args 0. That means first index we are passing. So at least one argument which we have to pass during runtime. So let's see what we will do. So let's see, this is the program. So let's save it as the name. It is given the name of the class, and it will be same. So I am writing program1.java. So I will see, yes, it is created now. So the Java file we have created. So that's why I have given .java extension. That's why I have given .java extension. Now we will run this program. That first I will show that how the exceptions is generated. Then what we will do to avoid the exception, we will see that. So first I will show that why the exceptions is generated. So open the command prompt. Now the name of the Java file, is program1.java. Now this program1.java is stored in the desktop. So we have to go in that path. So first we will go to the desktop, and here the Java file is present. So for compilation purpose, we will use javac program1.java. Okay. So now you will see that. Okay. So I have missed for giving that. That's why problem happens. So next time we'll again compile it. Yes, now it is clear that the compile have been done. So there is no problem in the program now. So there is no problem. Now we will use the execution. Now we will run the program. The compile in the when we compile the program, there is no problem. So now we will run this program. So for running this, we have to use Java program one. Java, then the name of the file. Now you see, at first time, I am not passing any argument. You see, I have not written anything. So then enter. Let's see. I have said that the exceptions will be thrown. That is the case, that exceptions in thread main java.lang array index out of bound exception. This exceptions will be thrown. The name of the exceptions will be array index out of bound exception and 0 because we are passing arguments. So that means some arguments have to be passed during runtime. But you see, I have not passed any argument during runtime. So we are passing the argument here. We want to print the first index argument, but we have to pass that argument during runtime. But in the runtime, you see, I have not passed any argument. That's why this exception is thrown. And the exceptions will be thrown as the array index out of bound exception. And in which position it is shown? It is thrown in the 0th position. Because this 0 we are printing, but we didn't pass any arguments there. So that's why this exception is thrown. So now what we will do, let's say we will again compile the program. And now during here, I will say, I will pass the our argument. I will pass the argument now. First time I have not passed the argument, and that's why this exception is thrown, array index out of bound exception at 0th index. Now we are passing the argument. We are passing the argument at a runtime because this word is written that we are passing the argument at runtime. Now you see it is shown hello world. So that means we have to, if we use this command line argument, then if we write this like this, then we have to pass the argument. We have to pass the argument at runtime. If the argument is not passed, then array index out of bound exceptions will be thrown. And the particular index, it will be shown. In that particular index, array out of bound exception. Here we have written 0, and that's why this particular index, it is shown array index out of bound exception, because in that time I have not passed any argument here. So let's say we make some changes here. Let's say we add some another arguments also, args 1. Let's say another argument we want to pass. So we will save it here. Now, one thing, when you will do the Java programming, so first time here, if let's say we didn't compile it, we didn't compile some changes I have done, and after making the changes, if I didn't compile the program, then the previous result will be shown, because each and every compilation, the bytecode is created. So that's why we have to, after making the changes, if in the same file we are making the changes, then after making changes, save it and then compile that program. Because if you didn't compile that program, then the previous result will be shown here. Okay. So let's see that the previous result is shown. So first time you have to compile that, because after making the changes in the same file, you have to compile that, because after compilation, a new bytecode will be created, and after that, the result will be shown. But if we didn't save it, then the previous bytecode, according to the previous bytecode, the result will be shown. So we have making the changes that we have added another argument, that plus args 0, then plus, let's say we have added another argument. So let's say we will again compile it. So after compilation, what the result will be shown, we see that. Then let's say here I have used CAC, only CAC I have used. You see, array out index out of bound exception at 1, because there is 2 parameters should be passed, but I have used only 1 parameter here. Only CAC I have passed. So that's why it is shown array index out of bound exception at 1, because in the first index, according to the first index, our arguments is not passed, because this is what, this is the, if we say that this CAC, if we consider this CAC is for the argument 0, but for argument 1, there is, for argument 1, there is no argument present for ARGS 1 index. For first index, there is no argument present. This CAC is for the ARGS 0, but what is the argument for ARGS 1 for the first index? No argument is passed. So that's why first array out of bound exception at 1, that particular index, the array out of bound exceptions occurred and it is shown. So that's why what we have to do now, let's say we will pass, let's say we will pass CAC student. You see, hello CAC student. So that's why this is shown. So this is a method. This is a method through which we can pass the parameters, and passing the parameter, this is the, using the command line argument as a user input, we can take the value. This is a way to pick user input in the Java using passing command line argument in Java. This is a way, but this is not the most conventional way. The most conventional way for getting user input in the Java is the using the scanner class. We'll see that. But before that, we will see another thing, that if let's say we have to add 2 variables, let's say we have to add 2 variables using passing command line argument, we will take runtime input, and after adding the values, we will print that. So what changes we have to do? We will see that now. So I delete this, and I am doing over the same file. Okay, so I am doing over the same file. So after doing every program, I will do what? I will compile it and the bytecode will be changed. So that's why I am doing over the same file name. So let's say here I am now in this program, I will show that how addition of the 2 numbers, the addition of the 2 numbers, and after that we will take this as a command line argument. 2 elements we will take as a command line argument, and after that we will print that value. So how it will be done? So let's say we are taking 2 values, I, j, and another variable that is sum equal to 0. Now, if we directly add using I, if we directly add, we have to, one thing we have to in mind, that whatever the argument we will pass, whatever the argument we will pass in Java, it will all be of string type. It will all be of string type, whichever argument we will pass at a runtime. So that means what we have to do, if you remember in the previous class, I have said, I have discussed about the wrapper class. So there is the method, there is a method that is integer class, and integer class method is the parse int. So this method do what? This method takes the string and convert it into the integer. So that means that the concept of the wrapper class should be done. So because in each and every argument, if we pass it in Java, each and every argument is of string type. So that means we have to convert that string to the integer variable. we have to convert this string to the integer value. So for doing that, we already know, already in the previous class, we have declared the methods. So every class, there is the wrapper class present, the 8 wrapper class. If you remember the 8 wrapper class, and that 8 wrapper class are present in the java.lang package, which we have discussed. So that means integer class method parse int. Now in this, you have to be remember that I should be caps and this parse int I should be caps, because Java is very much case sensitive language. So you have to do what, that's how I am showing. You have to do like that. So you have to remember which is the caps value, which letter is caps, which letter is not caps. You have to remember that, because Java is very much case sensitive language. So any changes happen, it will show that the error will be shown. So now A0, sorry, not A0, ARGS 0. So the first index. So I value will be, now this ARGS 0 will take the as a parameter. In ARGS 0 will take the value as a string value we will take, and through integer.parseInt method, integer class parseInt method will convert that string to the integer type. Then same as that, we have to do another for another, because we are doing the operations of sum of two variables. So this is, let's say, 1. So in the 0th position and 1 position, 2 values will be present. In 0th position and 1 position, the 2 values will be present there. So now what we will do? So sum equal to I plus j. Sum equal to I plus j. So the two values, the two string values which through integer.parseInt method we have converted from string to the integer, these two values additions will be done now. Sum equal to I plus j. And after that, we will print that value, system.out.println. So println, now the sum of I and j is, so sum of I and j is, let's say, now that is plus, and we'll print the value. Okay, we will print that value here. So save it first, and then we will compile that program. So for compilation, so let's see if there is any error. So there is no error. So now we will do that. So there is 0, there is 0th index, there is 0th index and 1 index. So that means 2 values should be passed. 2 values 0 and 1 should be passed here. So 2 values should be passed. Let's say we are using 7 and 9. So 2 values is passed. You see the sum of I and j is 16. It is shown. So that means this integer.parseInt, this integer.parseInt is a method in the wrapper class. We have seen wrapper class. We have converted this in the wrapper class. This is the converted from string to the integer value. From string to the integer value, we have converted. So that means when we are passing this parameter 7 and 9, don't think this is the integer, because as a parameter, if we didn't write this integer.parseInt, then it will be concatenated. The value should be concatenated, because if everything there is in the argument, if we pass, the argument always takes at a string. So for integer.parseInt method should be used to convert that string to the integer type. Okay, so this is what our passing the using command line argument. So through command line argument, we can do this. Now this is a way we can take the values at a runtime. Means through an user input, we can take the value by passing command line argument in Java. There is another way also, and that is the most conventional way. That is the most conventional way. That is using taking the input from user in Java and the input from using scanner class. Through scanner class, if we take input, it is the most conventional way. Through passing line argument, it is okay. But that means what? If you have to add like 8 numbers, then you have to use ARGS0, ARGS1, ARGS2, ARGS3, ARGS4, ARGS5, ARGS6, ARGS7. So that's how 8 numbers should be taken. Then there will be sum. After this, the sum will perform and will print the value. So at a runtime, 8 values should be passed. So that is what we didn't do that always. So this is a way we also use that passing command line argument in Java. But most conventional way to take input from the user is using the scanner class. If scanner class is what? There is already in Java, there is a class present. There is a class present, that name is scanner. Now, what is the purpose of this scanner class? The purpose of the scanner class is like in the C++, what we do in C, in C we use printf scanf. In C++ we use C in, C out. Both are for printf scanf for this. And this printf and scanf are present in file stdio standard input output. In that library file, this printf and scanf method is stored. So same as that, scanner class has also some methods. Scanner class, inside the scanner class, there is also some method present. Now this method we can use in our program. These methods are present, and this we are using in our program. We can print and scan the values. We'll see that. So this is what. So first, how to take input from user in Java using the scanner class. So that means using the scanner class, how we will take the input. So the first step, we are using this program. Let's say I will do the implementation on this program. So first, what we have to do in first, we have to, for if we want to take the user input, if we take the user input using the scanner class, then that time at first we have to import java.util.scanner. Now this is what this scanner class is present in the util package of Java. Scanner class is present in the util package of Java. So we have to import this scanner class, because if we didn't import this scanner class, then we cannot able to use inside that whatever the functions are mentioned. We cannot use that functions in our program. So that's why we have to import that. After importing, we have to create the object. After importing the scanner class, we have to create the object of the scanner class. We know that if we didn't create the object of the scanner class, then we cannot perform operation. If we didn't create the object of the scanner class in our program, then we cannot able to use that functions that is mentioned in the scanner class. We cannot able to use that functions which are mainly present inside the scanner class. And after creating the object of the scanner class, the methods that is present on the scanner class, in the inbuilt method that is present in the scanner class, we will take it as an input. So this is the steps: step 1, step 2, step 3. That is, first import java.util.scanner class. This should be first imported. Then the scanner class object should be created. And after creating the object, we can use the building function, means the functions that is mentioned in scanner class. So that functions we can use in our program. So let's say the addition we have done, using the passing command line argument, which we have seen that how the addition we have done. Same thing we will take here as using the scanner class. That means the addition of two numbers from using the scanner class, we will take the input, and after that we will perform the addition. So we'll see now step by step. So then public static void main string args. So this is the main method. This is same. Then what I have said, I have to first I have imported already. I have imported import java.util.scanner. Already I have imported the package. Now after importing the package, what I have to do? I have to create the object. I have to create the object of the scanner class. So that's why I said scanner. Let's say the name is used as SC1. Let's say I have used the name as SC1, then new scanner. And as a parameter, I used system.in. This is the object. This is the way I have created the object. The scanner class, I have used the scanner class, then SC1. This is the object, then equal to new scanner. So the object is created. Now, as a parameter, you see I have passed system.in. As a parameter, I have passed system.in. Now this is used for what? This is the input string. This is the input string which we need to pass while creating the object of the scanner class. For creating the object of the scanner class, we have to pass this input string. Now this will be stored where? This will be stored in sc.1. So in this object, well, that's why it is called that this is the input string which we need to pass, while creating the object, of the scanner class. So that's how we will create the object of the scanner class. So this is the way. Then let's say we will use I, and let's say we've shown that I, then let's say we use a value that is string value we will print. So string s. So let's say we are taking an integer value and another is the string value. We are taking this two. From one is integer value and another is the string value we are taking. So then let's say we are using system.out.println, and let's say we are saying enter the value of I. So this is a statement I am using. This is a statement, normal statement I have using. System.out.println, enter the value of I. Okay. Now we have to take the user input. So what we will do now, I have said that after creating the object of the scanner class, we able to use the functions. We will able to use the functions, built-in functions that is used in the scanner class, mentioned inside the scanner class. Now scanner class has some built-in function. So whatever the built-in functions in the scanner class, it is used for integer. For integer, it is used next int. For integer, it is used next int. So how this method should be called? Now scanner class object is what? SC1. So through SC1, we will call that method, that is next int. This is for integer. To take the integer value, as a user input, we will use the next int method. Next int method is used for taking the integer values. Same as that, I am copying that. Okay. So same as that, we have to take the string value also. For this is what it is saying, enter the value of string s. The value of string s. And here for string, what the for string we should use, for string we will use the next method. We will use the next method. For integer, in the scanner class, the method present is next int, and for string, the method present in the scanner class is the next method. So through next method, and this is called how? This is called using the scanner class object, because of that particular class object we have created in our program. So now if we have to access the scanner class method, so that means the object which the scanner class object which we have created in our program, through that object we can call the method. So that's why it is using sc1.nextInt. Now this nextInt method is present in the scanner class, and it does what? It uses for the taking integer values. And next method, this is used for what? This is used for taking the string value. So after that, we will do what? We will print the two values. Let's say we will print the two values here. So I and s value should be printed. Here also I and s value for s. Okay, so let's see. Okay, now Java, then program 1 for the value. I gave my 9 and okay, so the enter the value of I, say let's say 9 I have entered, then enter the value of string. So let's say, so you see that the value is shown as 9 and show. So that's how we can take the user input. So this is the way also for taking the user input using the scanner class, and this is the most conventional way. So at first we have seen the command line argument, and now we have seen it using the scanner class. So this is the two types we can take the our user input. Okay, so it is clear to everyone? समझ में आया सबको? गीता, मार्शल, शिवम?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So this is all about by taking the user input. These two methods by which you can take the user input. Okay, so then today is up to till now. So in the next class, I will show another topic in the Java. So then thank you everyone.